We cover everything from the south to the west. It's a whole lot of drip, you know. It's a whole lot of drip, you know. Hey, it's a whole lot of drip, you know. It's a whole lot of drip.
I'm going to start this with saying we're back.
We are back.
We're back. We're back. You were back before me.
That's right. I was there at the Islanders game. For you guys that were there, super exciting. For the ones that weren't there, sorry. But it was really good. It went into overtime, 8 shootouts. I've never seen it.
Yeah, because the Kraken have seen shootouts this season, but 8 rounds.
That's a lot of entertainment, though, because, you know, it wasn't just all misses. They were going back and forth and hitting makes. And so it's just nice to see us come on top. And for Yamamoto to be the one to be able to bring it home for us is really cool. The Kraken win 4-3. Bell was in Spokane, and I was there taking some photos for back to Besa, and I was able to get over and kind of get my photos that I needed. They used some of them in their articles.
Yeah, if you didn't see them, like, these pictures were fire. I woke up the next morning and I saw your folder in the drive that you had sent me, and it was just like, I was trying to pick the ones that I liked the most, and I was literally going through and hitting download on like every single one of them. Like, they were so good.
I do think that fan engagement is important, so I always like look for Bowie, because I know Bowie is keeping that crowd, you know, in it and ready and popping. When they're dancing, he's dancing with them.
It's the Bowie way.
Big booty Bowie, you know, like big booty Bowie.
If you've gone into the team store, then obviously you've seen where the big booty Bowie comes from, because I don't look at Bowie's butt.
Most of the time, he's got a jersey on. No pants on.
A sweater, you mean? A sweater?
Yeah, we're back with the sweater.
That's great, though. That's great that you were there and that you got to experience an 8-round shootout. Ironically, I was in Spokane, and I missed a very good Yamamoto performance. So Yamamoto is from Spokane, so that's where the irony falls. I'll just take it as I was like sending good vibes from Spokane to Yamamoto. Before we dive into this game that we were both at, luckily, they did play on the road against the Vancouver Canucks before coming back to Climate Pledge Arena. And you mentioned a 4-3 Islanders win?
Yeah, correct. The Kraken won the game 4-3.
Yeah, so again, 4-3. But the difference for the Canucks game was that this was in regulation. They didn't need overtime. They didn't need an 8-round shootout. The Kraken were able to pull out the win and give the Canucks their first home regulation loss. They have lost at home, just not in regulation.
And something significant about these two games is Matty Benier scored in these last 2 games. So that was really good to see when I was there, and he scored that first goal. He hasn't scored in a while. And so the fans went crazy. The crowd was super happy, and it was cool to see him continue that streak on in the Canucks.
Yeah, as a Calder Cup winner, I feel like your expectations are high going into the next season, so it's good to see him pick up his groove a little bit.
Talking about groove, he picked up his mustache game too.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that. Yes, so you did notice. And you think that's picking up the mustache game?
I mean, with No Shave November, you know, you got to be creative. Mine, I kind of shaped it a little bit, but, you know, I always end up, like, maybe taking one side down more than another. He's got a good full mustache, so he's got it.
Yeah, you think so? Well, another thing that he got against the Canucks on that win was the Davy Jones hat for the day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's great. Like you said, it's great to see, and I'm sure the fans really enjoyed having that expectation become reality and him scoring that goal.
Hell yeah. Gonna be a bunch of dogs out there. Let's keep this train rolling.
So I would say for the past 2 games, my jefe de jefe would be Matty Beniers, just because it's nice to see him on a roll, and I'm excited to see what he can do for the game that we're going to talk later on tonight.
There was something else that was significant that you wanted to mention about the Kraken and Islanders game.
When you walk into the Climate Pledge Arena, there's screens on the roof, and then there's screens on the column there, and they all kind of just make one image. So it just feels like you're kind of going through a tunnel of support for, you know, cancer awareness. They were able to auction off the jerseys, and you're able to buy merch in the stores to help support. Super cool night, super cool vibes all the way around. Everybody was just loving it.
Were you able to get one of those signs that I saw being posted on socials of the people that attended the game?
That's right. So they had these signs here. You fight for cancer, you fill it in, who you're fighting for. They were giving out these signs, and they were giving out pins as well. Here, if you want to check it out. And you just go ahead and put who you fight for. They got these pins right here too. I would say I fight for my grandma Ophelia. She passed away of pancreatic cancer, so she's always was super supportive of me, pretty close to my grandma. So it was a cool night to be able to take a moment and just think about them for a little bit.
So as Matt mentioned earlier in the quick recap, I think you mentioned our collaboration with Back to Besa. So there are some really cool pictures from the venue, from the Climate Pledge Arena, how they just redid all the colors for the purple to match Kraken Hockey Fights Cancer night. And you got some really cool pictures of Besa. That background, it was a nice color. It was a nice touch.
Yeah, and also, Besa wasn't the only social media presence that reposted our photos. We had the Bowie, our favorite mascot. He also reposted some of my photos, and I think my favorite photo of the night is where he's fist bumping Joey Decord. So after a win like that, it's always nice to be able to get that moment.
What was that moment like for you when you saw that Bowie was using your photos on a social post?
It makes me feel like I belong. I've been doing these photos for a while, and it's nice to be able to have somebody that's a part of the Kraken community repost my content and use my content, seeing that I'm a smaller outlet, and that I'm a professional. I went to school for this, and so to get the confirmation that my stuff is good is always great. The same thing with like Besa's photo. One of the Climate Pledge photographers also commented on it and really liked it, and so that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So, and I just want them to know that I notice and I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, that's great. It's always nice to feel validated in the work that you do and the vision that you have. I can only imagine, like, as a photographer, how you have to think differently to get certain shots. So
You're obsessed over this idea of just your craft and how to make it better. So from learning, how to grade and like your raw footage, and before you start adding, your kind of emotion or theme of the photo that you want to give. And so I feel like I'm at a very good point where my stuff looks solid, where I'm gonna start flirting with different styles and things like that. So
That's exciting.
you guys are gonna be able to see that journey of my photography skills and all that.
that's exciting. I'm happy for you. I was over the moon for you to see that Bowie had used some of your photos because, like I said, the album for that whole night, I was blown away by the quality of your work. So
Yeah, and then we're also we had just started a website, so we're gonna start posting our albums on our website so you guys can see our work. And if you don't know, I always take fan engagement photos, so you might be in one of our photos there.
was there anything else that you noticed from that night that you wanted to talk about?
Fish tosses. If you guys are going to a game, don't leave too early. If they win, they give fish tosses, and it's pretty cool. They get a pretty nice fish. It has signed by a couple of the players.
Yeah, and it is confirmed that they only toss the fish during wins. And it's the stars of the game. And most likely when it's a win, the stars of the game are the Kraken players. So, and then also you mentioned the fish changing year by year.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So, you'll never have the same fish as like someone in a different season. And that's kind of cool.
I mean, and think about it, on a year that they do really good and they make the playoffs, you have a fish from that year and you can identify it from the other fish. So it's like a time capsule of Kraken hockey history.
Yeah. There's been a unique perspective also on how the Kraken socials are choosing to introduce some of their players to us. Have you seen the Breaking the Ice social post?
I haven't. Can you tell me a little about it?
Yeah, so they choose a player and they ask them some of their faves. So this week it was Joey Decord, and he went over some of his favorite cereal, his favorite cheat meal, his favorite, I think, non-NHL athlete or like not hockey athlete. But they've done it with a couple other players already too. What's your growing up? And it segues into one of his favorites. But growing up, what was your favorite cereal?
My favorite cereal is Count Chocula. That chocolate with the marshmallows, it hits. It's nostalgic too. Always around the holidays, because it's seasonal. So, good cereal. I would wait for it to come back out the next year to be able to get some.
Yeah, Count Chocula sounds like it'd be like a Halloween thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Joey Decord's was I don't want to give it like a specific brand because they didn't specify like exactly what it was, but it was a circular colored cereal. So, Fruit Loops?
Maybe.
Julio's?
Who knows? The box was cool. You could go ahead and color the back end. It looks like a more anime style Julio. Growing up, we actually had the Tutti Fruttis. It's like that big bag that you can get bulk feed.
Bulk feed.
The kids.
His favorite cheat meal was burgers, so that prompted me to wonder from where. Because I know what my answer would be.
What's your answer?
I think ours are the same. If I had to choose a cheat meal every so often and it was burgers, it would be Shake Shack.
Shake Shack, you hear this? We fans. I hope you're fans.
Shake Shack for me, it'd be interesting to ask further questions for any of these players to just get more insight. So like Joey, what would it be for you? But I think his fave non-hockey athlete was Tom Brady. It's not hard to go with a goat of a sport, right? It's interesting. Keep an eye out for those posts. It's a great way to get to know our Kraken hockey players, especially if you want just to relate to them more, because I think Fruit Loops are pretty relatable.
And being Drip Media, we have to talk about the Winter Classic jerseys they just revealed through the Utah Jazz. Big news in the social media realm. People were freaking out, wondering why the Utah Jazz. I'm just glad I was able to see John Collins in a jersey. He's pretty swaggy. And to see him later on posterize somebody in the game, it was just like, yeah, I got to get myself this jersey too.
The only correlation, because they are not, like geographically, it's Portland. So the only correlation that came to mind for me was the attendance that we were at for Rain City Showcase. And we were watching Utah against the Clippers in Climate Pledge Arena. So maybe we gained some fans from that. Like maybe Utah all of a sudden was like, who plays here? Like Kraken play here. What are they about? And we gained some supportive fans from that.
Also, another thing to note is that on the 11th, the Utah Jazz Bear made a TikTok with Bowie.
Oh.
Where they were playing a game called backhand or front hand or backhand.
Yo, real? Yo, what up, Lawrence? Hey, man, you want to play front hand, backhand? I don't know that game, man. It's easy, dog. All you got to do is say front hand or backhand. All right, front hand.
Was there a better alternative?
I don't think so. The significant thing about this is that we went to go play the Avalanche that week on the
9th and 13th, I think you said?
Yeah, the 9th and the 13th. So on the 11th, they made this post. And the Avalanche are the affiliates for the Utah Grizzlies, I believe. And so to me, Utah could have been able to converse with the Kraken and kind of see what they can do together, since they were here for the Climate Pledge and relations continue.
Yeah, you would think that just sports teams in general are pretty intertwined. But that's interesting to note. Colorado affiliate Utah correlation to like the NBA team. So what the hell was Bowie doing in Utah when they were in Colorado? So Bowie left Colorado.
Ooh.
While the Kraken were in between games. So Bowie was busy.
Busy Bowie.
Busy Bowie. You think there was some like conspiring going on during that?
I would call it relation building. But hey, they wore our jerseys. We're happy for it. They look super cool. Super excited to be able to get a jersey or get a sweater.
Sweater. I just think it's cool in general, just being an NBA fan, that an NBA team was the one to reveal them. But like, we don't have an NBA team, so just any team supporting
Seattle
our city.
sports.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to see basketball or the NBA be involved with Seattle sports again.
Those are our packages. All right, yeah, we're gonna have to pause really quick because Rod is going crazy about FedEx, and
Oh,
Matt is about to go crazy about his Panini cards. That's right. Panini. What are Panini cards? Is Panini just the brand of the card?
Yeah.
Okay.
With different brands come different opportunities to get different parallels, things like that, mosaics, and those are the cards that are more collectible, but also they just look cool. They have a different style to them, different photographer, artists.
Excited to rip that package open then.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing about getting cards and going sifting through them is just seeing the different angles that the different photographers take, and what people like. You know, people like these side of images, and so, like one of my favorites from baseball last year was Mookie Betts diving back to first, trying to get a void thrown out because he has that red Jordan glove and he's reaching out. It's just, yeah, it looks like magic.
And now that Rod has stopped barking, we can go back to the Winter Classic jerseys. So game takes place on the 1st, I believe.
That's right. It brings in the new year. So
Ring in the new year with some outdoor Kraken hockey.
yeah, it's gonna be cold out there. So you just gotta wear your thermals and double layer. But hey, us Seattleites, we're used to that. We're excited for some hockey gonna take place at T-Mobile Park.
The jersey design is an ode to the Seattle Metropolitans with a Seattle Kraken twist. It'll be exciting, and you said they do this annually?
Yeah, they do this annually, and this is the first time that it's here in Seattle. It was at Fenway Park last year, so seeing the pictures of that, I'm just excited to see what they're gonna do and make happen here.
Yeah, sports have really tried to find cool ways to get a bigger crowd to be able to attend them. I think what my mind goes to with the Winter Classic is a setting almost like I think Iowa had for the women's college basketball team, where they also played in a football stadium. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that picture of Caitlin Clark. It was very daunting to see a sold-out stadium, and something you haven't seen like outdoor basketball.
Outdoor basketball. Yeah, that's crazy. Part of the excitement of recording again for us was that we were both back at CPA. So in our last video, we gave kind of a brief update on how things were going. And yesterday we were able to both be back. Mm-hmm. What was the feeling of being back?
I was excited to be back at Climate Pledge, to be representing Drip Media with you again, to be able to come back and record. Super excited about the stories we're going to be able to bring back to our community. How about you? Like, what feeling did you have coming back, and especially since you weren't there for the Islander game?
It felt a little bit different, but yeah, I was happy to be back, and I think this time around we did a lap, and I think we discovered things that like we hadn't seen before. Mm-hmm. In just like paying attention and immersing myself into the game, I noticed that they're also playing a variety of music. So it seems like they're trying to really relate to everybody that might be there watching the game. But I think the most interesting thing to me was seeing the food selection, because I hadn't seen that before. I know that people are kind of weary about buying food at CPA nowadays because of the pricing. Some people have said that possibly the pricing has gone up. I don't remember the pricing before, but the options that they're bringing in are inclusive. It was nice to walk around and see we turned a corner and I immediately smelled cheese, and it was a very strong, significant smell of cheese. I thought quesadilla. That's like the first thing that came to my mind. But we saw birria tacos.
Oh yeah, you can see them sizzling on there. They have that big pot of the birria there, and they're making them there. You can watch them, and so it was exciting to see. When I got back, they weren't really cooking them anymore, so I wasn't able to get a picture for you guys. But the next time we're at the stadium, we're gonna go ahead and get a picture and show you guys.
And there were even more options. They had other al pastor taco options, but those were in the club seating.
They have it even on the, I forgot what you called it, but
I think it's called a trompo.
ooh,
There are some cool perks about being in that area for sure. Something super simple to me that was like, oh my gosh, they have access to this. Well, first, the coffee, but also they have a coat rack. Like, you don't have to, you can be cold and walking to the stadium from your parking spot, you can have a bigger jacket on, but you don't have to worry about taking it back to your seat. Going into the actual game, I thought the Kraken might pull this one out. It seems like we've been going into overtime quite a bit the past few games.
one thing that we talked about were their shots on goal in the last periods of the game. Just feels like we could pick it up a little bit
He did get 2 goals
quickly in
on
the first
him.
period.
Yeah. So he did get pulled out, and they had the option of putting in Decord, which they went with.
I thought that was surprising that they pulled Gruby out in the first period.
The Kraken did have 2 of the goals in the second period, so they made adjustments after the first. The Flames had the equalizer in the third, and then, geez, Anderson just like, he didn't give up on that play in overtime.
Yeah, I remember Wenny laying out to block that first go at the goal. The cord blocks it, and Wenny kind of gets out of the play, and then with that ricochet back in, it's kind of hard to stop it.
That's what I've noticed in expanding, just like trying to see when shots are most effective, is I've noticed that on the rebound, you have a pretty good shot at catching the goalie off guard, because Decord was kind of setting again, and so that second one just got past him.
At first, I always thought the way that they score is they swing that stick back and
And so
but
much more.
you notice that the guy that's playing in front of the goalkeeper, he's also blocking the vision of the goalkeeper. So he's actually trying to get in the way of his vision, so then you have a better chance of getting it past him. But also he's able to tip it in. In this same game, I remember McCann, where he had that play where he just like tips it in. And a lot of my pregame shots of McCann is he has a puck and he's like, and it helps.
It does, yeah. That balance work is crazy. I have seen some of those pictures, and I think I've actually seen them on your Instagram as well. But as Matt mentioned prior, we will have a website here running so that you can tune into all of the albums from all of the games that we attend. And we have some things that we just want to share. I have a blog post that never got posted that I would love for people just to, if you're curious about just our experiences, our initial experiences, like all of that will be there.
Yep.
But it was great to be back at Climate Pledge Arena. It was a Kraken loss, unfortunately. Did we have another 4-3 game?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
That was 3-4-3 games in a row.
Yeah, unfortunately this one was a loss, but they do play on Wednesday. And they play tomorrow at against the San Jose Sharks. So we will not be at that one. As many of you guys know, it is Thanksgiving week, so we will be traveling for Thanksgiving to see our loved ones and our family.
We just got a new addition to the Bermudez family. Super
Yeah.
exciting. I got a niece, name's Camilla, and we're gonna go see her this weekend, so super stoked.
Yeah, but there are still several things going on during this week, and you actually made me realize how busy the week is in sports. The Apple Cup is on Saturday. The Sounders are in the playoffs, so they play Sunday.
Well, the Seahawks play on Thanksgiving, so that's super exciting. Overall, a lot of things you guys can do, so everybody that's having family over, you don't just have to be inside the house and looking at each other. You can get out to a game and avoid some of that awkwardness.
Yeah, or just throw on the TV and connect over some sports. But happy Thanksgiving to everybody who does celebrate, and we'll be back very soon.
Everybody do it better, you know we drip the best. We cover everything from the south to the west. It's a whole lot of drip, you know. It's a whole lot of drip, you know. Hey, it's a whole lot of drip, you know. It's a whole lot of drip.